whole premise that digital banks are here to fill a gap that has existed, perhaps it's a good starting premise, but that's not necessarily the objective with which digital banks are being introduced. State Bank, in all its wisdom, I think has made the right move to introduce a new licensing regime. And that licensing regime allows for more players to come into this market to fight the same fight that conventional banks, microfinance banks, branchless banks, EMIs, PSO, PSPs have been fighting up till now, and that is to digitize cash. We all have a common enemy, and that common enemy is cash. All the money for our economy that exists in cash is a detriment to our growth, and that is the joint purpose for all of us who work in the formalized economy space. But to see Pakistan in this time go from having single-digit financial inclusion to a very healthy number now, where a lot of people have wallets through telco-owned banks. There are a lot more people opening accounts, a lot more people using digital payments as a mode of fulfilling their life needs. It satisfies me to see that, but we're still not where we need to be. So as the custodian of one of the 5 aspiring digital banks, my focus is going to be in propagating inclusion. And people who are using cash don't realize that they're being excluded from the opportunities that digital financial services bring. Convenience is the most obvious one, right? And that's the one we tend to focus on. If you look at the USP of digitization in Pakistan, it has primarily been convenience. The other is trust. Digitization of an economy creates implicit trust. With cash, that trust doesn't necessarily exist, right? And if you sort of take cash out of the equation, wherever trust exists, it's because of absence of cash. The trust between a merchant and a customer borrowing from that merchant for their groceries every month isn't a cash transaction, it's a trust transaction. And the trust that the money that a customer owes to the merchant will eventually come back to the merchant isn't because some pieces of paper exchange at the end of the month, it's because they know each other. So do those pieces of paper need to exist for that trust to propagate is a question that we are trying to answer. The other big aspect of financial inclusion is really the ability for people to understand what their finances are. Whereas when I am using digital payments as my primary mode of payment, with one click I can realize where the money has gone over the week. So formalizing understanding of your money and your budgets is another aspect which is very important, both to individuals and to merchants. And it focuses on creating inclusion. Where we need to sort of look at things differently, and I believe that the central bank is also looking at it now, is the future of open banking, perhaps. How do we open up our services to players that are non-banks to provide financial services based on our license and the services that we provide? So to be able to create a solution for a non-financial services entity that services financial needs for their customers is the utopia of open banking. That's where I would like to see regulation move. And that would be for us a key differentiator for all digital banks. I do expect that all digital banks would be looking at open banking as a vertical to open up their APIs to potential partners. The market I actually see where 1/3 of my customers eventually at scale will come from my own efforts, and 2/3 of my customers would come in from the efforts of my partners who'd be embedding my services in their solutions. By some estimates, the Pakistani economy, the informal Pakistani economy, is sized at about $300 billion, right? That is, if those numbers are correct, and if we are able to formalize this economy, we would have doubled the size of our economy. So the impact of digitizing cash is tremendous. When I was, 3 years ago, when I was presenting to a government entity, the number at that time was that for every $3.9 billion of cash you digitize, you increase the size of the economy by about 1%, right? I don't know if those numbers still hold true, but that is a significant chunk of change. With 250 million people, with 46 to 50 million households, with 64% of the population under the age of 37, the market size is huge. It's comparable to the likes of Brazil and Nigeria. It's double the size of Egypt when it comes to the number of people. So, and we are, as the world knows, we are the fifth largest populous country in the world. Everybody has needs. They have consumption needs. They have spending needs. They have life needs. And if we are able to digitize parts of that economy at a rapid pace, we are looking at a very different Pakistan from a few years now. All these problems about not generating enough revenue and wanting to tax the salaried class and whatnot start to go away when we truly realize our potential as an economy through digitization of financial services and through digitization of cash. Yes, we are living in a very different environment than, say, 2022 when the DRB was introduced. Post-COVID, the world is still suffering from a very slow recovery, and the impacts of that are exacerbated in Pakistan. But I'll tell you this. We are not setting up a bank for the next quarter. We are not setting up a bank for the next year. We are setting up a bank to service the people of Pakistan for a very long time to come. And if you ask me, the analogy that I use is that if I'm a boatman, the boat is in my control, the sail is in my control, the storm isn't in my control, right? All I have to do is steer this boat through the storm, and the storm will pass. Sunny days will come, the wind will be favorable, and I will reach my destination. And the destination is a successful, digitized, prosperous Pakistan. We cannot ignore the fact that Pakistan is a land of tremendous opportunity. We cannot ignore the fact that we have a young population. And then most of those people realize that the future is not outside of Pakistan, the future is in Pakistan. And for them, what I see with our young team, we have a very young team here, dynamic, energetic people. What I see with them is a desire to make Pakistan a better place to live, not just for themselves, but for future generations. And I fully expect that with this young, motivated population in Pakistan, we are going to see the nature of the storm changing and the direction of the winds changing. And we will steer this boat to a point where we are all living a prosperous life. There are multiple players in the market that are servicing different kind of SMEs, different kind of individuals, and we want to embed our services in the services of those partners, as I said before. The other key area of collaboration for me is to work with non-licensed fintechs, giving them the opportunity to leverage the license that we have to offer a wider array of financial services to their customers. Let's take the two largest EMIs as an example. Each of them has 1 million or so customers. And if we were to explore a partnership with either of them, the immediate partnership would be access to credit, because we have our own book that you can underwrite, and we will have our own book that we can underwrite, and they have a captive audience of 1 million customers who have credit needs. Or for us to partner with the largest e-commerce player, or to partner with the largest delivery service provider to be able to embed financial services in their solutions are all things that we would like to explore. I also feel that once we work with the central bank on an open banking framework, that would open up opportunities to partner with other players.